What's going on, everybody? This is Monev360, and for 2020, I'm starting off the year with something new. This is episode 1 of my podcast, and it's called the Hip Hop Headz Podcast. All right? And the topic that I'm talking about today is the greatest hip hop producers of all time. All right? So we're going to go through this, and I'm going to give you the producers, and I'm going to give you my reasons why. And everybody, I just want to preface this by saying that this list is in no particular order. So I don't want anybody coming for me saying that, this person should have been higher or that person should have been lower. So let's get into it. Y'all stay tuned. What's up, hip hop heads? This is Monev360, and if you like dope beats, dope rhymes, and discussing hip hop culture, click on the subscribe button and on the bell that says you will get all notifications so you don't miss any of my videos. All right, we're gonna go ahead and start this list off with number 20, Knots. All right, Knots is a producer that's coming out of the DMV. Been around for like over 20 years now. Has done work with like Busta Rhymes, Snoop Dogg, like all different types of people. Asher Roth. He's done some stuff for Kanye West. And the thing that I love about Knots is that he's so good at chopping samples. I mean, he has an uncanny way of putting his beats together, and nobody has bass lines like Knots. I mean, it's like, I don't know if you understand what I mean, but it's like his bass lines move, so that's why I love Knots, and that's why I feel like he's one of the greatest hip hop producers of all time. Number 19 is No ID. Now, No ID, his claim to fame is from working with Common. No ID is just comes to how he puts his beats, piles all of his sounds. Like, he'll grab all his samples, all his drums and all that type of stuff, and then when he's ready to work, he just pulls from it. He if he's inspired, then all he has to do is just pull up his sounds, and then he's ready to start working. And I mean, I was very pleased with his work with Jay-Z. I would have never thought that Jay-Z would have went in with one producer, for an album, for 2017's 444. But I mean, it was just like beautiful compositions on that album, and it's just interesting to find out that like the story was that this was Jay-Z's playlist, like songs that he loved and that Jay-Z wanted him to chop up. So I mean, like, No ID is a producer who can work with anybody. Like, he's the type of producer that wants to vibe with you and build a bond and a friendship, so he can kind of know what to give you, because he can cater his beats directly to you. All right, now we're on number 18, and for number 18, I believe that this is somebody that a lot of people don't put on their list, but I believe that they should. And that person is Questlove from The Roots, Amir Thompson. I mean, we're talking about one of the greatest drummers in the world, like somebody who would sound exactly like a breakbeat, so he can do that already. Purpose. So, and I mean, this is including like all of his work with the Soulquarians collective, like Common, Mos Def, J Dilla's in that as well, and he's the drummer for The Roots. So I mean, you're talking about production work along with all of the other band members for one of the greatest MCs in hip hop. So I mean, that's my case that I'm building for how Questlove is one of the greatest hip hop producers in the world. and I think that I've made a good case. All right, we're on number 17 now. And number 17 is the Neptunes. All right, we're talking about Pharrell Williams and Chad Hugo. Okay, these two guys, they ran hip hop and R&B music from, I'd say, like 1998 till like 2006 or something. There's nobody like the Neptunes to me. I mean, they're the type of production duo that you just have to respect because the music is good. I mean, like, you can't even explain why. Like, I mean, the type of sounds that they use. I mean, their beats, you could spot them a mile away sometimes, but then other times you couldn't. Like, for example, Use Your Heart from SWV. That was in like 1996, you know, before people really even knew who they were. I mean, that beat sounds nothing like some of the stuff that they've done. I mean, you know, like they had a distinctive bass line that they would have in their beats. Like, I can think about a beat like Come Close. Come Close sounded different than the usual Neptunes beat, except for like the bass line. They had signature drums too, but they knew how to switch it up too. They were great at doing R&B, great at doing hip hop. I mean, talk about like Super Thug and beats like that, or something like Looking at Me for Mace. You know, I mean, I love them. I think they're amazing. I think they're producers who can work with anybody as well. Like, anybody in the industry can get a Neptunes beat, and even if you didn't like them, you'd like them on the Neptunes beat. Number 16 is Knife Wonder. All right, now this year will be 17 years since we first heard Knife Wonder on Little Brother's The Listening. And, you know, I think that kind of longevity is part of what gives him legendary status in my book. I mean, for him to come in the game, like, I remember seeing Little Brother on the okplayer.com, like, message boards, whatever, the blogs that they had from way back, like, in, you know, and I kept seeing pictures of them, like, who are these guys they keep showing on here? Like, one of them with the hat, you know, the hat real low, couldn't see him. That was Knife Wonder, you know. And it's just like, you know, his beats were amazing. I mean, and then to find out that he's doing it on a computer program that when I first ever saw it, like, heard about it, I thought it was corny. Like, it had the corniest name, Fruity Loops, but he's making like bangers on this joint. And I mean, like, you got to see that video on YouTube where he tells the story of how he ended up being on the Black album, and, you know, for like making Threat for Jay-Z, like, and then how that led to him being on Destiny's Child's Destiny Fulfilled album, and then it also had led to him, Mary J. Blige liking it, and him winning a Grammy for being on her album. You know what I'm saying? And then, like, think about all these one producer, one MC albums that he did, like for Jean Grey, for Buckshot, for Murs, like all this stuff, all this production, and then, you know, starting the Soul Council, you know, discovering Rhapsody. Like, he's the man, you know. I mean, like, for the, you know, for the newer generation, he's that dude that's gonna be spoken of with the likes of some of the people that I'm gonna be getting to later. All right, we on number 15, the Beat Miners. This is the production team for the Brooklyn collective, the Boot Camp Clique. which I mean consists of groups such as OGC, Helter Skelter, Smith and Wesson, and Black Moon. Like, I mean, Black Moon's Enter the Stage. I mean, that's a pivotal album. I mean, and then for me being young and not having listened to it when it first came out, I was blown away by the remixes, like the I Got You Open remix, you know, the Buck 'Em Down remix. Like, all of this is produced by these two guys, you know, Mr. Walt and DJ Evil D, you know. I mean, and then how they stepped it up for Smith and Wesson's The Shining. I mean, like, the filtered bass lines. The filtered bass lines is everything. Like, you know, like, I mean, the sonics of that. I mean, because the sonics of it is that it's lo-fi, but like on purpose, and it sounds good. It wouldn't be good if it wasn't dirty and gritty. You know, like hard drums, like, you know, the signature breaks that we love, like the ha-hachi, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that, like that you hearing, like, so that's why I love the Beat Miners. All right, we on number 14, and number 14 is Just Blaze. Yeah, Just Blaze, coming straight out of New Jersey. You know, like, he's another legend in the game. I mean, he got popular off of his work on the Blueprint, but he's somebody that has worked with a bunch of different people in hip hop and R&B as well. I mean, like I said, Jay-Z, but also like Mariah Carey. He murdered Freeway's first album, Philadelphia Freeway. You know, I hope that one day we get to hear whatever his work was on Jay Electronica's album. But we probably won't, because it probably never come out. But yeah, like just everybody, and just he's a genius. If you ever hear him talk about music, I mean, you know he knows what he's talking about. I mean, he's a great mixing engineer. Just like his production techniques, the way he's able to use different things, like he makes beats on Logic, but before that he was using an MPC. I mean, he can use whatever he wants to use. Number 13 is the Alchemist, ALC. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude is nasty. I mean, when you think about like all his work with Mobb Deep, with Prodigy by himself, he did an album with Havoc. I mean, he's worked with Evidence, like Jadakiss, like so many different people, and like his use of samples is good too. His beats put you in a zone, because they kind of got like a dark feel to them, and he's got these like real deep bass lines. You know, that's kind of he comes by that honest because he came up under the mentorship of DJ Muggs, you know. So like he has that. I mean, and it's just beautiful, the type of things that he's done. Like, if you think about like Hold You Down, how like Just Blaze had that beat already for the that he used for Soon You'll Understand for Jay-Z, but then the way the Alchemist flipped it was just crazy. Like, you know, and that's how Alchemist does. Alchemist has Keep It Thorough in his catalog. You know, like that beat is hard. That's one of my favorite Alchemist beats. Before we go any further in this video, I'd like to take some time out to thank all of my subscribers. I'm coming very close to, at the time of this recording, of having 500 subscribers. Right now I'm at about 474, but I thank each and every one of you guys. And right now I want to personally thank some of my most recent subscribers. It's about 6 people. There's DJ Too Fresh, Christopher Haynes, 484 House. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing anybody's names. James Smith, Red Eye, RIS1, and Belt J. Thank you guys for subscribing to my channel. Alright, now let's get back into the video. Alright, we on number 12 if I'm not mistaken. And number 12 is somebody that probably doesn't come up on everybody's list because he's not like super popular, but he is very talented. And the man's name is Madlib. Madlib, you know, if I'm not mistaken, he's out of Cali, and he's a sample digger. He travels all over the world, to Brazil and all these different places to record dig, and he's good at like not even having to chop the sample. Like when you find a sample that's very, very obscure, it's like if it's dope, sometimes you don't even have to do anything to it. And Madlib is one of the people that understands that. So sometimes he'll just let the sample play. It'll be no drums in it, and it'll still knock. It'll still be a dope beat. And that's one thing that I respect about him. He's worked with some of everybody. Like he has great chemistry with Freddie Gibbs. You know, they came out with Bandana last year. Who else? MF Doom. Like you gotta hear Mad Villainy if you haven't heard it. Like, so yeah, Madlib's the man. Number 11 is Yeezy. Yeah, y'all know who I'm talking about. Kanye West. Kanye West, man. Like, you know, people probably have a love-hate relationship with Kanye West, or some people, it might just be polarizing. It might just be that there's some on one side that love him and some that hate him. But one thing you can't take away from that man is his music. I mean, like, ever since, you know, him kind of almost splitting up the Blueprint with Just Blaze, like he's been on our radar, and he's been making heat. Like, and I mean, I do still love the old Kanye from like 2001 to like 2007 maybe, but he's also someone who is good at finding samples. Like when you thought it was over, then in 2018 he dropped those like 5 albums, and there was like ill samples on Daytona and stuff, and like, you know, it was still some dope production on Kids See Ghosts, you know, like, and it's like, okay, so you thought that he had just went crazy. No, he's crazy on those boards still. Like I don't know about the rapping. The rapping, he kind of hit and missed with the rapping, but as far as production wise, oh yeah, he's that dude. You Don't Know My Name for Alicia Keys. Like I said, like all the stuff he did for the Blueprint, College Dropout, Late Registration, Graduation. What? Yeah. So much respect to Kanye West. All right, we at number 10 now. Number 10 is Marley Marl. All right, Marley Marl, one of the legendary producers from back in the day, influenced so many people. Marley Marl, this is what blew my mind about him. He is the one that said that he was messing around with the drum machine and trying to sample a sound and accidentally caught a drum in it, and then had the bright idea to chop up different drums to make a kit to program for a beat. Like, for him doing that changed the game, man. To be able to impeach the president snare, to take a kick from Funky President, to take a hi-hat from whatever break beat, it's a new day, and like mix them all together. Like, man, come on now. Like, so you talking about somebody that's worked with everybody from Rakim to LL Cool J. I mean, this is your favorite producer's favorite producer. All right, number 9. Number 9 is Dr. Dre. Okay, you can't have one of these lists without Dr. Dre. I mean, Dr. Dre is a producer. He's a producer in like the Quincy Jones sense of the word. He may not have touched the keyboard or touched the drum machine for every hit or every deep album track that he's ever produced, but he still was the mastermind behind it. He still is the mixing master. It's like nobody has like an ear for how to make things sound sonically like Dr. Dre. I mean, like anybody will tell you that. So these are reasons why he has to be one of the greatest producers ever. Somebody who popularized Snoop Dogg, somebody who popularized Eminem and 50 Cent, Dr. Dre. All right, number 8 is Large Professor. Okay, Large Professor, the extra P. Okay, you're nice when like you taught like special techniques and tricks to people like DJ Premier and like Havoc. You know what I'm saying? Like he's somebody else who was real nice with the filtered bass lines. He started out being in the group Main Source, but then he went solo. One of my favorite joints by him is off the High School High soundtrack. Him and Pete Rock, going in. And but yeah, Large Professor is somebody that I really look up to as far as with the production game, because he's also somebody who's big into digging. He used to go digging with like Q-Tip and stuff like that. And Large Professor kind of brought us Nas. You know what I'm saying? Like he did what was it, 3 or 4 beats on Illmatic, not counting the It Ain't Hard to Tell remix. Yeah, Large Professor is one of the greatest. Number 7 is Q-Tip. I had just mentioned him. Q-Tip. Okay, everybody knows he's from the group A Tribe Called Quest, and everybody knows that in A Tribe Called Quest there's actually 4 members. There's Q-Tip, there's the late great Phife Dawg, there's Ali Shaheed Muhammad, and the 4th member that we don't always see is Jerobi. Okay, so I'm saying all that to say, when I was listening to those Tribe Called Quest albums back in the day, I thought Ali Shaheed Muhammad was doing everything, but come to find out that Q-Tip is a super dope producer. Been producing for years, and they later formed the Ummah, with Jay Dilla. So that was him, Jay Dilla and Ali Shaheed. But Q-Tip has done a lot of work by himself, done production for a lot of other people. He did production and did a lot of mixing and working on some things with the Mobb Deep album, the Infamous. He did One Love on Nas's Illmatic. Q-Tip is somebody who has a production style that's a great juxtaposition between having really, really hard drums, but matching that up with jazzy samples. Like, he's somebody that is good at putting together these beats that have samples from all these different songs, but they're all in key. It's like, how did you know that this stuff was gonna match with this? Like, the James Brown sample that's playing in the background of lyrics to go with Minnie Riperton's Inside My Love. Like, how that worked together, like, that's crazy. So that's why I love Q-Tip. Number 6 is Eric Sermon. If Eric Sermon is not on your greatest hip hop producer of all time list, he should be. Okay? Come on now. Funky bass lines. The only one sampling stuff and making it sound like West Coast, but he's straight all East Coast. He's from like Long Island, New York. Like, and I mean, the work on all those EPMD albums. Like, Eric Sermon is another one that can combine different samples and make them sound good together. Like, I mean, one of the nastiest beats to me is like So What You Saying, you know, like, and then like You Got to Chill, all this kind of stuff. He produced 4321 for LL Cool J, like, just nasty stuff. I mean, like, think about even like something like The Rhyme for Keith Murray, for him to take Before I Let Go and just like filter it down like that and make it sound like kind of like dark. Like, that's the dude is nasty, man. Like, I give a lot of respect to Eric Sermon, and I just, for some reason, I feel like he slept on as a producer. So that's why I had to make sure that I saluted him on this list. Number 5 is Timberland. Timbo the King. You know, he had to be on my list because, I mean, just for him coming up with the stutter step drum pattern that, you know, like, that other producers had started biting and all that kind of stuff. Like, I mean, just coming in the game with a different sound. Him and Missy came in the game and it was crazy. You know, like, he came under Devontae Swing from Jodeci. And then, like, you know, like when you hear Pony by Genuine for the first time, it's like, wow, what is this? Like, you know, like the way he's able to put these sounds, is like, you don't know what these sounds are, where he got them from, and how he can make it sound good. Got a baby like laughing in the background on the Are You That Somebody? You know, he might have like elephants or any type of just weird like sound. Like, I still love like listening to Cry Me a River, and you can hear all this crazy stuff in there, like the and all those little sounds, and the choir coming in on the end, and you know, because the thing about Timberland is just like what he did on My Love by Justin Timberlake, is he'll start his beats off with beatboxing. So he'll be beatboxing in the beat, and then he'll take that and then put his own snares and kicks and stuff on top of that, build around it. And like when he leaves it in, it sounds dope because you can still hear it. You can hear it in My Love. You can hear him doing it in Cry Me a River. You can hear him doing it on the end of What About Us by Total. Like, you know, so that to me is what makes Timberland great, his creativity. All right, we coming around the home stretch now. We on number 4. And you know, y'all want to know who number 4 is. Number 4 is the RZA. The the RZA, the main producer for the Wu-Tang Clan. Wu-Tang Clan. When I was like 12 years old and I heard Protect Your Neck for the first time, like, I mean, that was everything for me. Like seeing them doing like, you know, martial arts in the videos and stuff, like, you know, when you're a little kid, I mean, and Three Ninjas had just came out and like, you know, Power Rangers is out. I mean, anything martial arts you're gonna be into. I didn't know that they were, you know, that they had a whole plan of like mixing this stuff together, mixing the hood like gangster stories with comic books and with martial arts. I didn't understand the full vision, but I just loved it. I mean, seeing the Mystery of Chess Boxing video, or like Cream, and then all this kind of stuff, and then all these solo albums, GZA's Liquid Swords, Raekwon Only Built for Cuban Links, Ghostface Killer, Iron Man. This is all of these albums are almost entirely produced by the RZA. I mean, you know, he did the of course Enter the Wu-Tang Forever, like all of this stuff, like all this stuff, like Supreme Clientele. He didn't produce every beat, but he still was like an executive producer. Like, so RZA is a genius. Long Kiss Goodnight for Biggie. Like, so he gotta make your greatest hip hop producer of all time list. All right, we're on number 3. Okay, so number 3 is definitely one of my favorite producers. He defined the New York sound, in my opinion. And he's not even from New York. He's from Houston, Texas. So hip hop heads, y'all should know who I'm talking about right now. I'm talking about DJ Premier. Primo. Government name Chris Martin. Not to be confused with the lead singer from Coldplay. You know, we talking about Premier. I mean, he's somebody that's worked with like the greats in hip hop. You know, Nas, Biggie, Jay-Z, you know, some of everybody, Jadakiss, Royce the 5'9", you know. It's one person that he hasn't worked with that I really want him to work with on like an official song, and that's Eminem. But yeah, DJ Premier, his style of scratching in the vocal samples from rap songs and stuff, and like having it be to where it's not jarring, and it mixes in right with whatever sample that he has. And he has this way of like his drums sounding like very funky, like it's like a upbeat type way that his drums sound. His snares are crisp, you know, hi-hats, kick game, all that's dope. I mean, he's somebody that is so good at chopping samples that he could take like 2 seconds of a sample, chop it up, and then like let that be the main part of the beat. Just add in some sound effects and some scratches, and it's done. That's how Ten Crack Commandments is. He's got his scratches, and he's got the weird sound that comes in on like the 8th bar or whatever, and then that Les McCann sample, and that's it. That's all it needed. And it's dope. That's Premier for you. That's an example of what he does. He tells the story of how he chopped up the Impeach the President drums, and whatever it was that he sampled for Unbelievable, because Biggie was running out of budget, and Biggie had given him that idea of using R. Kelly and using the Impeach the President drums, you know, and he took it and ran with it. So that's why DJ Premier is, even though I said that this list has no particular order, that's why he's up high on this list. Number 2 is the Chocolate Boy Wonder, Pete Rock. You know? So, Pete Rock, coming straight out of Mount Vernon, New York, you know, discovered by his cousin, Heavy D, the late great Heavy D. You know, put on the radio as a DJ with Marley Marl. I mean, you know, also one of my favorite producers, you know. And he is somebody that is known for the filtered bass lines, known for the horns. Nobody samples horns like Pete Rock. And of course, They Reminisce Over You is a perfect example. That's a perfect eulogy for a fallen friend. You know, I mean, Pete Rock has worked with everybody as well. You know, he did The World Is Yours for Nas. I mean, all the type of work that he's done with people. I mean, with people from Wu-Tang and all this kind of stuff. Like, dude is just dope. I mean, he's a master with that SP-1200. You think about a drum machine that's so antiquated. Like, if I had to sit in front of that drum machine and bang out a beat like that would rack my brain. I wouldn't know what to do sitting there with those little pads and stuff and moving those knobs. Nah, that's for Pete Rock, one of the greatest hip hop producers of all time. Okay, finally, we have reached number 1. And since we're at number 1, I mean, you know, you heard me mention them, but I hadn't talked about them at length yet. So you know who it's gotta be that number 1 is. I hope you know. I'm a wait it out a little bit and let y'all think about who I might be about to say. All right, the wait is over. Dilla, formerly known as JD. You know, I gotta tell a story. Okay, my story is, okay, when I found out that J Dilla died, in my head, and this is really weird, but I had this thought that I was like, I'ma hold it down for Dilla. You know, when Dilla died, I had only been making beats for probably about 2 years, and I said that, and I don't know what it meant. Maybe it just meant that he is somebody that inspires me so much when it comes to production. His creativity, the fact that he would sit down at an MPC and think, I don't want to play this. I don't want to program my drums like they're programmed. I want to program them like I'm drumming on a drum machine. And sometimes he would do that. Sometimes he would get on the drums and make his own drums and then sample them into his MPC. His MPC 3000 was his weapon of choice, and he could do anything on that. I do have a video. I'm gonna put it up in the card about J Dilla samples, and it's a clip in that video where Questlove was talking about what J Dilla did on the song "Little Brother" for Black Star. Like, what he did on that song. I mean, like, he took that Roy Ayers, I think it is, sample, and he chopped it up. He chopped around almost every vocal in the song. It's like so many vocals in that song, but he just took the instrumentation and made his own beat with it. Like, I mean, you talk about like 1 second little parts and then connected it back together. Like, and it's insane. That's the type of stuff that J Dilla would do. I mean, J Dilla's bass lines, of course, were crazy. I mean, sample choices. He he started his own genre of music, neo soul, like, and like so many people copied him, and like, you know, people that went on to greatness that copied his style, like J Dilla is the best. You know, like I gotta say that he's the best. You know, as much as I love everybody else, when it comes to hip hop production, JD, I mean, is the best. Be sure to check out my next video, which is gonna be the greatest MCs of all time. So subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss that. All right, and I got a couple more videos for you to watch on the screen coming up. Dream big, never stop dreaming, and enjoy the journey. Thank you for watching, and y'all have a great day.